Nuevamente en Juegos, Juguetes y Coleccionables dentro de la Comic Con y nos encontramos ni más ni menos que a una de las celebridades de Latinoamérica. En el canal Sci-Fi pueden ver un programa sobre subastas de coleccionables y aquí tenemos ni más ni menos que a Joe para hablar con él. Y, well, Joe, first of all, collectors of collectors, how did you become a collector? When was that time that you say, I need to have this because I want it, not because I need it or something, because it's special?
My parents were antique dealers, so I grew up doing this as a little kid. And when I was 6 or 7, 8 years old, I would go to antique shows and, you know, furniture, boring, right? So finally I found G.I. Joes and I was like, then baseball cards and comic books and stamps. I loved everything. So anything military thing, I just started collecting everything. And I wouldn't sleep at night. I wanted to own these things and just hold them and cherish them. So I started collecting when I was a little kid.
Now, I saw the show, and most of the time, as a collector, I see that you get to see people who has these special things, and you get them to sell them. How do you do that? I mean, as a collector, I say I probably won't get rid of this. How do you do that?
Well, remember, you probably have called me out. I'm not going to just knock on your door and force you to sell something. So usually a collector has decided to sell. But what usually the problem is, they're not sure what to sell. They're conflicted. They're at a time where they need to do something. They either need the money, they want to buy something else. So my job is to kind of guide them through the process and say, look, if you're ready to sell, I'll walk you through the steps, help you make the right decision. Sometimes they say no, great, we come back, and sometimes I wait 2 or 3 years, but usually, remember, they're calling us in, so it's more about educating them and making them feel comfortable in the process.
Now, we've seen that you specialize in pretty neat things like film props and all that stuff, and it's some sort of easy, if you can say that, to evaluate these items. But in terms of other kind of collectibles, like, you know, some sort of toys exactly, how do you find these tools or this idea of how to evaluate things?
Well, I think what's happened now is in toys and baseball cards and comic books, it's all about condition. Anything that was mass manufactured, they found a way to grade. So basically, you have 2 types of collectibles. You can either buy comic books that you can open up and read, which is one type, or you can buy the slabbed kinds that are graded that you can't touch anymore. So they've become what I call investables. They're not collectibles anymore. They've gone into an investing category where you're buying an object. It doesn't appeal to me. I want to be able to touch the object. I don't want it to be in a plastic case. I can appreciate that, but that's how collectibles, like you might get a rare toy, because it's in the original packaging unopened, it's worth so much more. That's a different type of thing, so I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. This is another question I had since I saw the show. Do you have a collection?
Yeah, absolutely. I collect everything. I mean, I collect gems and minerals, movie memorabilia, comic book art, comic books. Very eclectic. I like everything. I'm a terrible buyer because I want to buy everything. All different feels. I mean, I have artwork. I love this stuff.
What is the most difficult item you had to get for an auction?
I would say the ruby slippers Dorothy wore in The Wizard of Oz. I mean, we tried to get these from the guy for 5 years, and it was like every year it just became such a conflict. He wanted to sell, he didn't want to sell, and finally he decided to sell them. That was probably the most difficult thing I ever obtained, and we sold them for $2 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what is the rarest item in your collection?
The rarest item in my collection, I collect comic book art. So I have the original art to X-Men 126, which is a cover drawn by Dave Cockrum, inked by the great Terry Austin. I own that cover, so that's my pride and joy.
Wow, that's really awesome. I mean, this passion that you irradiate and share, it's a great thing. Now, for Mexico City, well, in general, Mexico, Latin America, there are people with money that probably would like to get some of these things, but they don't know how. How can they reach profiles in history to be one of the bidders?
We actually have quite a few clients in Mexico. We've found more and more buyers. You can go to our website, which is profilesinhistory.com. You can bid anywhere in the world over the internet. You can bid in real time. You don't have to come to the auction. You can bid over a computer. We ship things all over the world. We have clients in 150 countries. So it's not a hard thing to do. It's just the first time you do it, it's a little bit the shipping, the customs, the rules, but it's not hard. And you can always come. Mexico isn't far away. We're just across the border. Come on over. Come for a visit.
Now, if in the same case, the Mexican film industry was pretty much a system like the studios in the beginning of Hollywood. But in Mexico, it was a family business. So there's a lot of families that still get, that wardrobe, that thing. How could they be in touch with you, and if you will be interested in?
Oh, absolutely. They could contact our office on the internet. They can write us, they can call us, and tell us what they have, because there's a lot of movies that were made in Mexico. James Cameron Titanic was filmed in Rosarito Beach, right? So, there's a lot of stuff down there. Let us know what you have. We can come down and film it, or we can put it in auction and sell it for you.
Okay. Now what we have here in the stand in Comic-Con.
Okay, so basically we're having an auction in 2 weeks, and these are some of the highlights of the things. This is a complete Hellboy costume worn by Ron Perlman. Marlon Brando, this is Jor-El, this is Superman's father. This is the costume from the Warner Brothers archive. This is a complete Johnny Depp, Edward Scissorhand. Colleen Atwood designed the costume. Stan Winston did the Scissorhands. And this, we're standing in front of the Hell Cycle Nicolas Cage rode in Ghost Rider. This is pretty cool. And in the back corner, Superman, the Man of Steel, Christopher Reeve's costume he wore in Superman 1 and 2. All of these items are up for auction. You can go to our website, Profiles in History, download it, and see what we have for sale.
Now, this has an idea of a price for the sellout.
Right.
How many times does you get exceeded this anticipation?
I try to estimate things conservatively, so usually they sell for more than the estimate. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. If you watch Hollywood Treasure, you'll see sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong. But in the most part, we try to they're pretty accurate. Like, I would say, maybe sometimes 20 or 30% more than the estimate, but we're pretty good at gauging. We've sold so many of these things, but again, it's really hard to tell. Sometimes things will sell for 5 or 10 times the estimate. It just depends on how bad somebody wants one, because they're priceless. There really is nowhere to compare the value.
Well, Joe, it's been a real pleasure talking with you here. I'm thrilled. Actually, I'm thrilled. And I'm very excited. Now, Comic-Con, it's a lot of opportunities for people. So,
absolutely.
A word for the newest or the casual collectible.
Okay, my best advice for a collector, and I mean this from the bottom of my soul, no matter how much money you have to spend, let's say you have $1,000 you've saved up, buy the best $1,000 thing you can buy. Do not buy $10, $100 things. It's better to always buy the best thing, because someday you may want to sell it. And you'll get the most money if you buy the best. That's just my advice. Do whatever you want, collect whatever you want, be happy. Collecting is a great thing, but try to buy the best of whatever it is you want to own, because someday it'll always be the best and you'll get a good price for it.
Ya lo saben, un excelente consejo. Y pues muchas gracias, tenemos que despedirnos. Esto para Juegos, Juguetes y Coleccionables. Ricardo con Joe. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Seguimos aquí.